Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Sipping on Excellence.
Sipping on Excellence.
Coach KJ.
That would be
Doc.
me. That's him.
Coming back at you.
Another day.
Woo.
Another episode.
Yeah, dog. We back.
Yeah.
Another week.
No, I'm a little nervous. I'm going to sip a coffee.
Nah, man, we had a good warm-up show this past Saturday. If you guys didn't catch it, go catch it. We touched on all kinds of shit.
To let you guys know, this is very current.
Yes.
This episode is very current.
But we are not going to relive Saturday. We are going to the next level.
Okay.
You know, because that's why it's the warm-up show. It's moving on. So
He said relive,
yeah, y'all just we're moving on.
which makes me nervous because I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't tell him what we were discussing today because why should I? But I had to write some stuff down. You know, people like to have conversations with me and like to touch on stuff, and so it ends up being
There was some interesting feedback from
the DMs like to blow up after our lives.
It was
You
some
know,
interesting. I think you're wrong.
dude. It is.
Or they only heard parts of it.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of interesting because the problem is that people in general don't listen.
No.
And it all goes back to communication. And so somebody made a comment today to me about the problem with men is men don't listen or don't care.
Okay.
And it was like, we give you the blueprint and you still don't follow it. And my comment was, are you giving us a blueprint that only you can read? Or you give us a blueprint and you think we can read it. And one comment I made, and this to me makes perfect sense. So ladies, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff here that's going to be said. I have to preface it with this. That is our opinions. We're not trying to say we know how y'all think. We're not trying to say we know how y'all are. This ain't facts. This is just observations and perceptions.
What's interesting for me is that a lot of times, well, you didn't say a whole lot. I'm like, well, when he says something, 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty much in agreement. So am I going to just reiterate exactly what you just said? Is it an echo? Am I going to be your Lionel? Am I going to be Lionel?
Right.
Over your shoulder? Yeah!
But notice also,
You
when I speak of things I don't know, I look to Coach, especially when we're talking about marriage.
yes.
I look at Coach and be like,
Yeah.
and he gives you, as the twice married man,
Right. The experience.
way more experience than I have, which is none.
Yeah.
You know? And so people who don't understand the ping pong between us, fuck them. I don't care if they don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Because after this weekend, the feedback that I was getting was, why are you blaming women? I said, you didn't listen to the whole thing.
Same thing.
I was like, you didn't listen to it. That means you only heard what you wanted to hear, which was a negative, and you took that negative and said, that's not me. That's not what I do. That was what you did, or that's how you guys do. And I'm like, that's not what we said. That's not what we said.
Nothing about that whole conversation on Saturday was about the blame game.
No.
We didn't blame. We said issues as to why both parties can be at fault at different times for different things.
Correct.
And no man reached out to me and say, why you blaming us for shit?
Yeah. We ain't gonna Steve Harvey you.
Yeah.
Seriously, we're not. No.
You know, and so that was, we say the quiet parts out loud, and people at times don't like the fact that we point out their shit. Mm-hmm. We point out our shit.
Yeah.
You know? So this is not a tit for tat kind of thing. And so I made a statement to Coach earlier tonight, and I said, you know, who shook the bottle?
Who what?
Who shook the bottle?
Say it again.
Who shook the bottle?
I just want to make sure that was clear.
That was clear.
Okay.
So, and the reason why I said that is because somebody sent me something. I'm gonna tell you, and then we'll dive deep.
Okay.
Think about, and this wasn't what was sent to me. It was sent to me with a different analogy, and I'll play that on here, but I'm going to tell you how I see this. Everybody likes an ice cold beer, right?
Okay. Correct.
That beer is in perfect harmony with the right amount of fizz. That beer, that canned soda, is in its right amount of, if it's cold, if it's bubbly, and it's good. Nobody likes a flat beer, and nobody likes that beer that what happens when you shake it. So the perfect beer is when the beer and the fizz are in perfect harmony. Mm-hmm. The perfect soda is when the carbonation and the sweet and the flavor is in perfect harmony. When you shake it up, it's undrinkable. And now the carbonation and the beer, or the carbonation and the soda, the actual syrup of the soda is no longer in harmony.
Correct.
And they're battling one another for the space in that jar.
Got it.
So the beer didn't shake the bottle. Mm-hmm. The carbonated soda didn't shake the bottle. Who shook the bottle to make the beer and the bubbles not get along?
Whoever the owner of, the one in possession of.
Not even. Who lights the fire when people have issues? Think about this. So I'm going to play this thing that was sent to me, and I want to give the person credit, but it was called Who Shook the Jar? So I'm going to play it. And hopefully this comes out good.
100 black ants and 100 red ants in a jar. Nothing will happen. But if you shake the jar, the ants will start killing each other. Red ants will believe black is the enemy, while black ants believe red is the enemy. But the real enemy is the person who shook the jar. Same is true in our society. Before we start to fight each other, we must ask ourselves who shook the jar. If you could.
Interesting, right? Yeah. So before we get into the man-woman dichotomy, think about where we are in society right now. If I'm sitting here and you're sitting there, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. If I don't know that, we're great. We have a conversation, we talk, we do whatever. It doesn't matter.
Correct.
Then politics shakes the jar. And all of a sudden, us being cool, we are now fighting one another, not because we're different. It's because somebody told us we have to think different.
Correct.
Because someone told us, I shouldn't like you because you have certain beliefs.
You were given your opinion.
And you shouldn't like me because I have certain beliefs. When 5 minutes ago,
We were
cool talking about just general beliefs. Think about how that plays out in the world around you. We're puppets. Who's holding the strings? Mm-hmm. You know? You and your wife has issues. You guys could be sitting in harmony. She opens up Instagram, sees a post of something. She's triggered. You didn't shake that jar. She didn't shake it. Mm-hmm. Social media shook that jar. Mm-hmm. And now she wants to fight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's so crazy, but now there are a lot of different people and a lot of different things that have their hands on the jar. Mm-hmm. Shaking it up. Why? Because think about what conflicts have done for society. Our society thrives and flourishes from an economic standpoint during times of war.
Absolutely.
Look at what shook the jar during COVID, and look what our economy did. Look how many people made the billionaires made massive amounts of money because somebody shook the jar. You know, think about what the defense industry does when there's a conflict.
Absolutely.
Peace creates poverty.
Do you think, is it because people settle? They have nothing to look forward to?
I don't know. I think that, bring it down to a smaller scale, like we've always talked about. Why do you think some women like the bad boy? Because they want somebody to shake the jar. Because shaking the jar creates excitement. You know? And it was something that I was thinking about today, and I was just like, that's kind of wild. So look at the relationship between men and women.
Okay.
All right? We are beer and bubbles. A flat beer is the average man going through life. Women are the carbonation. They bring life to the beer. But they can also bring volatility to the beer when it's not in harmony. But the beer can't shake itself. So something comes to shake the beer, and the beer is never the one that squirts out of the jar. It's the carbonation that makes it squirt.
Absolutely.
And so if you, and women are going to think that we are bashing them, but think about this. And this is all going to be part of us just talking about how we're different.
So different.
We as men, when we're young, as teenagers, as in our 20s, we have a list a mile long of the things we think we want in a woman. Women, from the time they're a child, have already pictured everything their man has to have. Mm-hmm. And their list gets longer and longer and deeper as they age, right? And as they become more successful. Women look at men, and this is my opinion, as I need him to have all these qualities that I feel I deserve in a man. A man looks at a woman and says, I need a woman who has all the qualities I want.
It's a big difference.
And here's what I've learned, and here's what I've picked up on. Women feel from the beginning of time, and as they get more successful and they get older, feel they deserve this.
Correct.
The man that they're with, if he doesn't have all of those qualities, she is always keeping her eye out because she feels she is settling, because he doesn't have everything she feels she deserves. Bad or good, take it for as you want to put it.
Yeah, gotcha.
As a man, as we get older,
Okay.
we learn that what we used to think we want aren't really important. Mm-hmm. And the more successful we get, the older we get, the less we want from a woman.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing. If we meet a woman and she has most of what we want, and she's got 90% of what we want, 80% of what we want, we don't look at it as settling. We look at it as like, shit, we got somebody that's got 80% of what we want. We're good. The other 10% I could work around. Mm-hmm. The problem with a lot of women is that they meet a man, he checks most of the boxes of what they feel they deserve, mm-hmm. and they feel they can change him into checking all the other boxes. Mm-hmm. So, for example, they meet a dude, they really love him, they really care about him, but he's on his grind, on his way up. So they meet him and he's got time to buy the flowers. He's got time to take you to dinner.
Correct.
He's got all these things, right? And you as this woman meet him and you're like, but I want him to be here. Mm-hmm. So in order for him to get here, he's got to see her less. He's got to work more. He's got to grind harder. So what does that mean?
There's less time.
There's less time. He's less available.
Which means flowers a little less.
And everything is less attention.
Yes.
Why? Because he's trying to become the man that you feel you deserve because you're pushing him to be that way. He wants to be a better man for you because he wants you to be happy. And you're pushing him because you want him to make you happy. Mm-hmm. You know? And so as he's on his grind and he's now working 100 hours a week instead of 40, and he's spending less time with you, that girlfriend or that work friend now shakes the bottle mm-hmm. and says, gosh, you don't see your husband that much anymore. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't go out as much as you used to.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
because her schedule, her life is still the same.
Exactly.
And hoping that his that's higher is still maintain that same level, which is absolutely impossible because time is of the essence.
Exactly.
But the time that he gives, he's giving the full QT because
doesn't matter.
I know that's what I'm getting at. It doesn't matter because it's less time, but he's giving her his undivided attention. However, it's not the same. So she is saying, you're giving me less. I want more of what you're supposed to be, but I also want this, what you used to be, at the same time.
Because if you're not giving me this, then I feel like I'm settling. Mm-hmm. But if I push you to do more, then I feel like you're not giving me attention. So I want you to be on your grind, but I want attention as well.
I want you on your grind, but I want you on your grind off my time.
And there's no such thing as off their time.
Right.
You know, and so, and ladies, I'm not saying that's a negative that you want to be with your dude. That's great. But you can't have it all. A life story requires a lifestyle, which requires your dude to work.
Right.
And every man, that's why young men should stay single. If you're in your 20s, because you're on your grind. And a young man isn't ready for a woman while he's working towards bettering himself. Because the reason... y'all ladies aren't going to want to hear this. The reason why we grind, the reason why we want to become so successful, the reason why we work as hard as we do is because we want to make life better for you. And they don't want, we're going to get so much blowback from this because they don't want to believe that that's true. Right. But yet you ask any man, we don't work as hard as we do because I want to impress Coach. He give a fuck about me and what I have, what I don't have. I'm trying to become the best version of me so I can attract the best version of you. Mm-hmm. Not him. Give a shit about him. So I'm on the grind to be as good as I can be, the best man I can be, do all that, because eventually every man wants to be able to attract the best woman he can.
Right.
That's just what it is. And so,
because he's not doing it just for himself.
No.
It's absolutely not.
And if a man decides to be in a relationship with you ladies, I promise you he doesn't feel he's settling. What has happened is that he's met you. You've checked as many boxes of his that he feels are important. There's the ideals and there's the must-haves. If you check all the must-haves, he's in.
Because I know for myself, and I've spoken to many men in regards to this. They always go, well, we always go, the married ones, we go, what do I love? What do I like about her? What do I enjoy? What feeds me? What do I care about? What are some of those little things that get to me? How do they outweigh each other? Okay, good enough. Our percentages, it's not micro percentages. It's like 10, 20, 30, 40. It's not, 46.8.
And I'm talking about even before you're in the relationship.
Yeah,
you meet this woman and you're like, I like her.
That's it.
And if a dude is like, I like her, and he's in a relationship with you, you've checked enough boxes where he doesn't feel he's settling. No man ends up with a woman that he feels he's settled with.
No.
Never.
That the word settled
never crossed. I've never heard a dude say, you know what, I'm with her, I'm settling.
No. Matter of fact, the only time we hear so is when we speak about women and their relationships.
Because the majority of women settle. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Fellas, if your woman has ever said, why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you doing that to better yourself? Why aren't you in the gym more? Why aren't you working more? Why aren't you going to the office more? It's because in her mind, she's already set it up that she wants you here. And because you're not there, she feels she's settling. So she hates the way that it feels to settle. So she's questioning, why aren't you the man that I want you to be? The approach, so that's the woman that's settled. Mm-hmm. The woman who is her man's champion is going to come at you and say, I love the fact that you work out. Can I go to the gym with you? Mm-hmm. I see that there's an opportunity at the office for this promotion. Is there anything I can do to help you? Mm-hmm. Not, why aren't you working towards the promotion? See the difference?
Mm-hmm. Because the why aren't you working towards the promotion is usually, and I say this all the time, a lot of times women lead with judgment, men lead with curiosity. If the role was flipped, why don't you try to go for that promotion? Like, we're curious as to why you wouldn't. Us, it's like, why aren't you? What's wrong with you?
Because I would be happier if you had higher status. Not you would be happier if you had higher status, because
I got that.
He could be happier. Yeah. He could be happy right now. Your dude's working a 9 to 5 and he's happy. If you're pushing him to do more and he does more, which requires more time, then you get upset that he has no time for you. Who's to blame, you or him? Mm-hmm. You know, and then what a lot of women don't realize. So you meet a dude on his way up, and you want him to be CEO. You want him to be whatever it is, the top of his game. You want coach to be the next, who's the dude with the big head? You know what I'm talking about, the tall dude, the white guy with the big head.
Anthony Robbins.
Yeah. You want coach to be the next Anthony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
You want him to be that. When he gets there, guess what happens? You now have a whole host of people competing for his attention.
Shaking the bottle.
You shook the jar. And now you have hundreds of thousands of women who want to be in your position. You wanted your man to grow there, but now you're mad that he's getting attention. Don't be mad when you help push this guy to create the man of your dreams, and be mad when he hasn't changed the way he sees you. You change the way you view his world. And the time that this becomes a problem is if she spends her whole world trying to catapult you and she's not growing with it. Mm-hmm. If you aren't bettering yourself while he's bettering himself, you're going to get left behind and wonder why you're not keeping up.
That's a fact.
It's that simple.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
You know, and this is a question that I don't have the answer to. Maybe you know. Who shook the jar to put men and women at such odds? I remember us being kids, and we weren't as much at odds as men and women are now.
No, at all.
You know, it's
The energy, the conversations.
I never heard as a kid, or even in high school or junior high or even college, I never heard a woman say, I don't need a man. Or I never heard women say, we don't need men. So who shook that jar that said women should now become their own men and complain that they can't find a man?
Right. And then, of course, we're in defense. So now we have to counter that with the red pill, all these, because now we have to say, wait a minute, slow down. Now we're at odds because we're defending and trying to let you know, like, wait a minute.
Right. You come at us with man energy. We got to come back at you with even more man energy.
Without hitting you. You know, it's verbal punching.
Right. It's like, we talk about abuse, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But that being said, you come at a man that if a man came at a man that way, he'd get punched in the face.
Correct.
You can say things to a man because you know you won't get punched in the face. That doesn't make it right. The way you talk to a dude when you're in your masculine energy, the way you belittle him. I always talk about poetic justice. She kept coming at him. She kept coming at him. She kept coming at him. And then,
He
reacted. A man shouldn't have to have restraint to have a conversation with you.
Right. Let alone, when do you get to the point where you literally lay hands? For what reason?
Yeah. And you should never put your hands on a man.
No. For what reason? There's absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
There's not a reason for us to actually physically fight.
No.
At all. Unless you've been spat on.
Yeah.
Which is to me the most disrespectful thing.
Yeah, but who
you can
shook
ever
the
do.
jar to make you feel like you deserve something I'm not?
I don't know, but
It happens a lot.
it
though.
happens a lot. And I mean, between now, social media, reality TV, between those two right now, they are on fire. With pushing the envelope.
Yeah, and it's like in relationships, you will never hear a man say, I deserve anything. What a man will say is, I want peace and I want respect. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with what he feels he deserves. Women always use the term deserve. And it's one of those things that why is that the case?
Yeah. I mean, and what's funny is, and most women that I've talked to have gone to therapy or whatever, when they use the word deserve, they said that their therapist like, you're going to have to strike that one from your vocabulary. You don't deserve. You might be worth something you build up to, but you don't deserve anything. I mean, that's plain and simple. I mean, we don't ever use that word. It doesn't come out of our mouth.
Like, I made a statement to somebody today, and I was like, this was the conversation.
Okay.
I was like, you got to understand that as men, if we have the weight of the world on our shoulders, all the little shit goes unnoticed because in the grand scheme of things, in our minds, it doesn't move the needle, and therefore it doesn't matter. If it's a big deal to you, then you need to tell us it's a big deal to you. Mm-hmm. Because if we think it's small, we're going to blow it off. And the response was something so small is so big to us. And I'm like, I get it, right? And I was like, but people get caught up. It says, you guys get caught up carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and forget about the partner. And my response was, and you guys get so caught up in your own shit that you forget that we as men matter. I was like, everything we do is to make life better for you. Everything you do is to make life better for you.
Right.
And I was like, let that sink in.
Yeah. What is the old saying? What's his is mine and what's mine is mine.
Yeah. And
we've heard that for
right.
years.
And we accept it.
Yeah.
And so if we are in them streets trying to make life better for you, and you have something little or something that we perceive as little, and it goes unnoticed, and you don't bring it to our attention, the only reason a lot of times why it bothers you as much as it does that we didn't notice it is because somebody else shook the bottle and said, oh, your man didn't pick up on that. And it's usually, ladies, that single girlfriend who wants everybody in their orbit to be single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't take advice from your single girlfriends. Don't take advice from a girlfriend who's unhappy in her marriage.
Because we will stop in the middle of our day. Whatever you're going through in that moment, which is usually an emotional reaction, because we know we want that level of peace, I'm going to talk you off the ledge in that moment, no matter what I'm doing, no matter how busy I am, so I can have that peace when I get home.
Because we know y'all live on the ledge. We've talked about that. Yeah. Y'all live your life on that ledge because that level of high anxiety is where you guys feel most comfortable. Yeah. Having peace brings you anxiety. We, as men, can't comprehend that, but we accept that. Yeah. And the last thing we want to do is bring more anxiety to you, so we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that you asked, but we're fine. And that was the statement. I was like, I couldn't remember, and I told you this, the last time a woman aside from my mother reached out to me and said, hey, I just want to know how you're doing.
Yeah. We've had recent conversations, my wife and I, she's really taken a step back and taking a look like, I really want to know how you're doing. Like, I'm going to start asking that more and more. and I want you to be able to share.
Yeah.
Because what happens if we go any length of time, we don't do that, or that doesn't happen often for us, we'll just say, well, I'm fine. What you just said.
Yep.
I'm fine. What's going on? How was your day today? Like what happened this morning? Oh, it was good. So what's up with you? We'll move on to you because you have something that you need to get out. But she said, no, I want to know what happened today. I'm like, oh, but slowly but surely it's allowed me to let those offenses
because we're
down.
so used to people asking a question just so they can jump to their own response.
Yeah. Yeah. And for you and I, we're in a service industry where we take care of people all day long. All we listen to
Is other people's problems.
other people's problems. And the more problem that they make out of this, the one problem,
Yes.
the mountain molehill, shaking it up.
They shaking that jar.
Yeah, shaking that jar, man. They go for it too.
Yeah.
They don't just kind of shake the jar.
But here's the thing too. Somebody else shakes the jar and they bring that volatility home. It's hard for people to leave that shit outside. If I had nothing to do with the reason why you're wound up, don't find a problem at home to keep you wound up, because that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna come in wound up, and then you're gonna see a fork in the sink.
Yeah.
Every time I come home, there's a fork in the sink, and I don't know why you just can't wash the dish.
The one thing becomes always.
And in our mind, that's so trivial. But because in that moment, if it's really pissing you off, we can't tell you, look, 99% of the things we argue about don't matter.
Yeah.
When have you ever had, you think about all the arguments you've had with your wife, right? Any battles. Out of all of those,
Nope. I sure don't remember.
how many of them were earth shattering? Like altered life for, you argue about them, you figure, and you move on. And I talk to married couples and I'm like, 90% of the shit you argue about has either such a simple solution or doesn't matter. And that's why most men forget about the argument, because we think it's over, resolved, done, let's move on.
Yeah.
We're not here to shake the jar.
Yeah.
We try our best to not shake the jar.
And usually the issue that comes about is something that was not said. There wasn't any level of discussion leading up to. It was an assumption, a judgment, a belief, and they throw it at you, and then you go, oh shit, I didn't know you felt that way, or I didn't know you thought that way. Well, where did that come from? So you're still fighting for. That's why I say every single time, look, it's a bridge. I'm not trying to see what's at the bottom. I'm just trying to cross that bridge.
Right.
I'm trying to
Connect the two sides.
I'm just trying to connect the two sides. I don't know. I don't want to know why the bridge is apart. I don't want to know what shipping had broke the bridge. I don't want to know what the weather's like on the other side. I don't want to know any of that. I want to know what's going to bridge that gap.
We spend a lot of time dancing around delicate sensibilities. Mm-hmm. And it's work. Ladies, it's work. For us men, it's work trying to navigate the stormy waters of your moods. We do it because we care, and we do it because all we want, I keep saying this, is for you to be happy.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is emotional intelligence. We talk about it all the time. It's emotional intelligence. It's not emotional reaction. Stop reacting. Think about it. Let's have a conversation about it. Why are you in this space? So that way we can have a conversation at. So we can eliminate that space.
And if you can communicate with us in a succinct fashion of your wants and needs instead of what you feel, then maybe we can meet halfway. We can help us get there.
Yeah.
But if you are having a hard time communicating because you keep saying to yourself, you should know what I want, you should know what I need, I don't. So I need you to tell me. So that way I can see if I have the ability to provide these. I will. If a man understands what you want and need, he will break his back trying to make sure you have it.
Yeah.
If he loves you, he will break his back to make sure you have it.
If
And
it's
all he asks for
No,
is,
go ahead.
is a
Finish.
little bit of appreciation
Yeah.
for doing so.
Right.
Recognize that I see you trying.
Don't skip over that. Don't miss that. That's just as important because he's trying to bridge that gap so you don't have those issues. So you can have that space to connect. And if there are issues, you have to share with them. You have to tell. Don't expect him to know that you like whatever. Like you don't you like it from the side this way. Now you mad at me because I just want to do it this way.
Communicate
that
your
can,
needs.
That
Yes.
can lead, you know.
Communicate
it's like,
your wants and needs.
Yeah. You have to share, you know. Like, for instance, I remember previous relationship, there was this need for me to touch, feel, you know, oh, everything's okay, everything's wonderful. I never showed that, but then it was expected of me. How am I to deliver if I've never been that person? How am I supposed to show up as a touchy-feely because I don't know that's your love language at that time because you never shared it with me? I need more time together. I need more connection. Oh, okay.
You know,
Because being in the same room is connection to me.
you know who shakes the jar a lot? Family.
Absolutely.
And the reason why I say that is because a woman's family or a man's family will say, you deserve better. This isn't the guy that I feel you deserve. Monster-in-Law became a movie for a reason. There's a reason why mother-in-laws can be painful because they feel their sons deserve better no matter who that woman is. Yeah. You know, and so they shake the jar.
Well,
they shake the jar to make you be at odds with your girl.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did. My ex-wife.
Yep.
Our parents, they were monster-in-laws. Monster-in-laws. But I stands up for myself. I says what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it, and it's been said. Now what you going to say?
Right.
You know? But how often as men, even in those instances, that we defend ourselves, that we protect our boundaries and our relationship? Because this relationship is about you and I. It's not about them.
Because they'll say, I don't care what my family thinks. But yet you start thinking.
They do.
Maybe I settled. You know, and I'll tell you, that has a bigger influence on on women than men. Yeah. So if my mom came to me and said, I don't like the woman you're dating, I think you deserve better. Cool. Well, that's why you're not dating her. Family goes to a woman and keeps throwing her head, you deserve this. You deserve a guy who's doing this. And if that guy is on the come up, but he hasn't come up yet, but he's on that trajectory has a clock. And if that ain't happening as fast as she has it in her mind that it should happen, or as fast as that family thinks it should happen,
right,
it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Why aren't you there yet? Why don't you have this yet? Why haven't we bought the house yet? Why haven't we done this?
Because let me tell you, they forgot their past.
Yes. They didn't forget. They just hope you forgot.
You know, well, they forgot their lives, how hard they worked.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They haven't forgotten. They just hope you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
You know?
And I do.
Yeah. You know, and so these are all things that we need to be thinking about and be held accountable for. You know, we always want to play the blame game and say it's other people's fault. It's your fault that you're not the man that she wanted you to be. I hear that shit all the time. Not to me, but in general, you hear women say that. Why aren't you the man that I expected you to be? Why aren't you the man that you have the potential to be? How about, what if I don't want to be that man? What if I just want to be me? What if I am perfectly, I always say this, men, we'd be perfectly content with a big TV, food in our mouth, and some sex from time to time. Everything else that we search for, the big house, the big car, all these different things we do. And we want to achieve all of these things because we think it's going to make you, number one, take notice. And when I say you, I mean women. We know that's going to make you, women, take notice and hopefully give us a leg up on the guy who doesn't have those things. If you guys weren't in the picture, we could all live equal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is our way of sort of peacocking to get the best mate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
men, we're always in some level of trying to peacock. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And I'll tell you a secret. If you're in a relationship with us, men, we want the woman we're with. Women, you guys want the man that you hope he can be. And you feel you deserve the man that you hope you can make him out to be. And that's why when you ask a woman to tell you her ideal man, it's never the man she's with. You ask a man to describe the woman that he's in, like the woman I would want is usually the woman he's with if he's in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's kind of guessing. And you'll see, you ask a single dude, what's your ideal woman? The shit he says will be very vague. It'll be, I want her to be cool. I want her to do this. I want her to be this. If he's in a relationship, it'll be very specific to his woman. Mm-hmm. You ask a woman the same thing. If she's single, she'll have criteria. If she's married, that criteria is still there, whether her husband meets those criteria or not. Mm-hmm. And so the closer he is to checking all those boxes, the happier she is. But women all the time, that's why we talk about hypergamy. Women all the time, even if you're 99% there, she still thinks she can get 100%.
Right.
And so she'll spend her life with one eye open, seeing if that exists. Mm-hmm. Because they will never step out to go search for it. Yeah. You know, and that's why they say when you look at men and women when they leave relationships, a man will come back to the woman because he realized that he really loved her. Mm-hmm. A woman will come back to a man only because in her mind she didn't find somebody better. I was about to say
she didn't find the person.
She didn't find better.
She didn't find all the boxes.
Right. She didn't check all the boxes. He realized what was missing. She realized she couldn't get better.
Yeah.
He realized he didn't want better. He didn't want different. He wanted her.
Right.
And that's the honest truth. Now, people might push back on me for that, but it's the truth. It's what it is.
I don't think anybody push back on that because there's no reason to. No. There's an honest space that men live in, and whether they're being dishonest in the relationship or not, there's an honest space, and there's a reason why they were with that person, and there's a reason why they want to be with that person, regardless of his own dumbness.
Right. Yeah.
You know, sometimes we're just dumb. Honestly, we're just dumb. We always say it. Like, what is the old dude told me? He's like, I'm smart enough to know that I'm dumb enough to do something stupid. So I just keep my ass out of them streets. For real.
And people say, well, how come you see men with these beautiful women that aren't smart, blah, blah, whatever? I'm going to tell you, a man will be with this woman who you perceive as not being smart or ditzy or has nothing going on, because in his world, the things that he placed value in, she checked those boxes. The things that society placed value in may not be the same as him, and he may say, you know what, I can accept that she doesn't have all those. He doesn't feel like he's settling because he's saying, you know what, I got the majority of what I want, so I'm good.
Yeah. Or just, I get what I want.
Yeah.
And she happens to fit.
She happens to fit what I want.
That's it.
That's
I want her to look this way. That's all I want.
That's all I care about.
I don't care about anything else. I don't, she got to be CEO. I don't care about it because we don't care about that. It's how does she make me feel? I like her. I want that. That's it.
Hence why we said on Saturday, a man will be with a woman that nobody expects him to be with from an aesthetic standpoint or a fashion standpoint, a plain Jane, if she brings him peace, respect, and love. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. It's prime. I was listening to the podcast, and you probably saw this. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and dude, it was the same woman who gave the speech about the husband store. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it. But
So she said the husband store has 6 floors.
Uh-huh.
And this guy switched it over and was talking to the women on the panel. He's like, all right, on this first floor, the guy's got a 9 to 5. He's a good guy, treats you well. You going to stay on the first floor? No, I want to see what's on the second floor. And each floor, the guy checked more and more boxes until they got to the 5th floor where he checked every box that the women liked. And they were like, I want to go to the 6th floor. And they went to the 6th floor and they were like, there's no men on that floor because the 6th floor doesn't exist. And he just proved his point that they're always looking for more.
Yeah.
No matter how great a man is, they're always looking for more in that guy. And so that's the perfect example of hypergamy and how it's just built into a woman to want and seek more.
There's an insatiable,
whether or not they act on it.
Yeah, they're insatiable. It's an insatiable appetite. They're seeking. You have dinner a couple nights. We want dinner more nights.
Yep.
We have sex 3 nights a week. I want 4 or 5. Okay. Well, all right.
I want your lifestyle, but I want you home.
Right. I want it all.
Yeah.
I want it all. Okay. And then on top of that, as men, what we do is we try to figure out how to give it all.
So women have to realize success requires time. And success requires time away from you. A successful relationship also requires time. What do you value more? His success or y'all's success?
Yeah.
And if in his mind, he feels that he needs to provide for you and give you the life you want or the life you feel you deserve to keep you happy, because he's not going to make you happy. So to keep you happy, what does that take? It takes time. If you want that life that he's trying to provide and you're not willing to settle for a lifestyle that's less, then you also have to sacrifice the exact same thing he's sacrificing, which is time. Mm-hmm. If you aren't willing to sacrifice the time the same way he's willing to sacrifice the time, then your idealistic views of what your man should be and what the relationship should be is what's shaking the bottle.
Right. I'm going to say this, men, you want to do better for her, focus on doing better for you. Put your time, your effort, your energy into you. That's it. I ain't got nothing else after that, because guess what? She will benefit from your greatness and the way you shine on yourself.
If she can't accept you in your purpose, if she can't help push you towards your purpose, if she's trying to, you're going 100 miles an hour in one direction. Mm-hmm. Never, ever, 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 ever let a woman slow you down. She's jumping on for the ride, or she's either jumping on for the ride, or she's pushing you to go 110.
Yeah.
If she's trying to slow you down, she's not for you.
Because men don't live in a 9 to 5. If you're on your shit, 9 to 5 doesn't exist. Whenever you're thinking about whatever it is you're doing, you're going to do it right then and there. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. You're pushing because guess what? I'm in this headspace right now.
Yep.
I got to get out of bed. I can't sit up here and hold you tonight. I got to get up and go do something because my mind is working. Our capacity is in that moment because we're on a trajectory no matter what happens.
You want to be the best version of yourself, work on your fitness, your finance, and work on your mental health. Work on your purpose. Notice there's nothing in that list that I said work on for her.
Right.
Because if you work on all those things, you become the best version of a man that you can become. Then the best version of a woman, which may not necessarily be the woman you're with, is okay. The best version of a woman will show their face. Mm-hmm. And if that woman you're with wants to be that best version of herself for you, she will have to step her game up to meet you.
Word up.
Seriously, she'll have to step up to meet you at your level. You should never have to slow down to meet her at hers. Just saying.
You said it.
It's a lot off the cuff, huh?
Yeah. I wasn't ready. I was.
You're always ready.
Because I'm always
This is life.
ready.
This is life.
This
life
is what
conversations.
we deal with. Yeah. It's
It's
what feeds us, what helps us grow, and what helps inspire us. And the biggest thing is this. And we talk about this all the fucking time. Is communicate. Open your mouths. Open your mouths, ladies. Open your mouths, men. Everybody open your mouths and stop talking at each other. Start talking to each other. We don't talk to each other anymore. That's that when we started off, talking about that combativeness. Dude.
If you say some shit to your dude, pause and ask him if he truly understood what you're asking. Ask your dude if he truly understands what you want in that moment. Chances are he's probably going to say, nah, can you help explain it a little better?
Right.
What do you need? And dudes, don't be afraid to ask because she might fly off the handle at you. I can't understand why you don't understand. You're so dumb. Blah. Ladies, that's not the right response. He's asking you because he did not understand. We are 6-year-olds in 50-year-old bodies.
Yeah.
Talk to us as such. And when you think you're dumbing it down, dumb it down a little more.
And watch his shoulders drop. Because he's like this every time he's talking to you. Watch his shoulders relax.
And when you ask him a question or when you think he should have recognized something and he didn't, don't fuss at him for not picking up on it. Say, hey, I was trying to show you this, or I was feeling this kind of way. I'm not sure if you understood, but let me help you understand better why I felt this way. Mm. That's all we need.
Tip.
All we need is explanations, not hints. And if you feel like that you don't want to explain, then you don't want him to pick up and respond.
Yeah. And if the person that you're with is the one, treat him as such. Treat him as such.
It's not a battle. We're not black ants and red ants.
Not your homie, not your girlfriend. Treat him as such. And vice versa.
Yeah.
If that's your partner, treat them as such. Love them.
And stop shaking the bottle. Anyway, Coach, man, where they going to find you?
Man, they going to find me on Instagram. At Coach KJ Knows on Instagram. And CoachKJ.com. Where they going to find you?
You're going to find me at Leonel Hunt on IG. You'll find me at huntspine.com. Check out the foundation, thehuntfoundation.org. On IG, at Hunt Foundation. A lot of big things going on. Check us out.
Lately. Great post.
Thank you. Check us out every week. 6 a.m. This comes out on Wednesdays. YouTube, Spotify. Subscribe. Y'all come like us to help keep this thing going. Saturdays, man, we do the warm-up show. Y'all need to DM us some of your questions. Reach out because You interact once you're on, but we want to talk about the things that we know you want to hear, not just the controversial shit that you guys like.
Right. That you halfway listening to.
That you guys like for us to shake the jar and watch your response.
That you halfway listening to.
Right. So,
Good Lord.
anyway, on that note, it's always a pleasure, y'all. And Coach, we out.
out.